I did not know it was possible, but I got even more hyped after seeing the Spider-Man 2 story trailer. Lots to go over, including new details from the PlayStation block, a brand new PS5 hardware. But first, damn, the graphics look insane. We especially see that in the updated face models for the main characters. So while I always had to get used to Peter's new face after they changed it on PS5, I like him more in Spider-Man 2. It looks way more mature, even though the game is only set 9 to 10 months after the events of Miles Morales. And by the way, I love the hairstyle they gave to Miles. He looks great, but the biggest upgrade totally is for MJ. I love her hair this way, and she now looks way more like the face model they used for her character also in the first game, while she's of course being voiced by Laura Bailey. So while both Spider-Man are doing really great at the start of the game in terms of crime fighting, they struggle in their personal lives. Miles has to write his college entrance essay, but is constantly distracted by his spider work. Peter struggles to pay the mortgage of Aunt May's house, but doesn't want to sell it, and MJ wants to help Peter get the money, but her job might be on the line because J. Jonah Jameson is back at the Bugle and could be firing a lot of people. Now, you already knew this if you read the free online comic they released some time ago. It takes place just before the second game and sets up the story perfectly. I will leave a link to how you can read it in the video description for if you haven't checked it out yet. It's really short, but I liked it, so give it a shot. And we all see Peter in the tuxedo, maybe for his new job to get some extra money, or is this kind of an undercover gig? I really got Uncharted vibes from this shot, by the way. But these personal issues are just the start of their troubles, as we see Kraven and his hunters go to New York City in numbers, and their Spider-Man and MJ want to figure out what his motivations are. Is it just to find and hunt a worthy opponent, or is there more going on? And I love the enemy variety we've seen so far in the trailer, by the way. We got the Bear Man, but also when Miles infiltrates this mansion, we see different hunters, robot knights. There are dogs, smaller drones. Again, like what I'm seeing so far, and I would not be surprised if someone is helping Kraven with an army to facilitate his hunts. During his introduction scene, we see him look at different targets in New York City, including many familiar faces from the previous games, but also Rave, who we very likely see in this shot of the story trailer. Like the mask and hair totally fits the icon that we see on the screen. It seems like she has some powerful nunchuck style weapons as well. But also interesting is how Peter is on the floor on the left here. And is that Kraven or someone else on the right? Like, of course, I will share my theories in this video, but I'm also curious to hear your takes in the comments down below. If you haven't played this City That Never Sleeps DLC for Spider-Man 1, then totally do it, because then you will learn the origins of this character that seems to play a big role in the sequel. So while I get that not everyone played that DLC, I will talk about some spoilers for the first game and tiny things from Miles Morales moving forward. You probably finished those already, right? And by the way, if you are hyped for Spider-Man 2 like me, then leaving a like on the video would really support the channel, and subscribe to not miss any more Spider-Man 2 videos. And you can, by the way, participate in my Digital Deluxe Edition giveaway. Find a special link in the pinned comment. You have to be a subscriber if you want to participate. Now, of course, the star of the trailer was Venom at the end, looking really amazing. But the question, of course, is, who are they? So while Peter will, of course, be slowly consumed and even get symbiote powers that we can use, we also have concept art of the two Spider-Men fighting Venom as well. Like, the trailer really hinted at Harry Osborn being a Venom at this moment in the story. So while we did see and hear Harry in Spider-Man PS4 in the research station's recordings, we never really met him. It was noted that he was on a business trip, but the big reveal at the end of the first game was that Harry was actually sick, the same disease that took his mother, and was being held in a green tank inside Norman's apartment. And during this scene, we see that Norman is destined to find a cure for his son. Then in another reveal, we see that Harry actually wakes up, and Norman orders Kurt Connors to set Harry free, even though Kurt warns against it. So now in the story trailer for Spider-Man 2, we see that Harry got out alive, and from the first glance, he looks pretty healthy, gets to meet Peter's friends in person, and is still set on healing the world, just like with his research stations. Only as expected, he probably is not cured at all, and then we hear this at the end of the trailer.
We're going to heal the world.
which again is the same line he said to Peter earlier.
You're gonna heal the world.
So I think that's a huge hint, or either Insomniac wanting us to believe that it's Harry. At least we already know that Eddie Brock won't be Venom in this game. Sure, they could lie about it to avoid spoilers, but let's take their word for it for now. Making Harry, at least at one point in the story, a very likely host for Venom. And maybe this also causes Norman to go full Green Goblin, as he notes that he's not going to lose Harry, which might totally happen when he becomes Venom. But the symbiote is still in the tank when Harry already got out, so something probably happens to Norman's apartment that causes it to be set free. And Joyce had a good theory that maybe Peter sees that the symbiote can take over anyone, so he will volunteer to try and control it, which gives him these awesome powers, but also slowly consumes him. Like, lets him throw innocent citizens on the floor like he doesn't care, and getting this urge for revenge on the lizard. So likely because Kurt Connors, who of course turns into the lizard, kept the symbiote in a tank for a couple of years. So that's likely why Peter, with the symbiote powers, wants to go after him, and we even have this new shot where the symbiote is completely butchering the lizard and Peter is losing control. But this losing control might even cause him to forget MJ, as we see her hiding for Peter in this creepy but also very interesting looking scene. Now I am curious how they're going to balance the fact that Venom will have multiple hosts with the fact that Peter has these symbiote abilities, with likely even a skill tree where we can improve them. So how does that work if Peter is not the host anymore? Will we then not be able to use these new powers anymore? You would think so, right? Again, your theory is more than welcome in the comments. I got a crazy theory now as well, as another big reveal was the fact that Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, is back. There seems to be another breakout at the prison, which he was sent to during the first game. And well, Miles is clearly not over the fact that Martin Lee killed his father, which also caused many ripple effects that we saw in his standalone game, where his mother was running for councilwoman and his uncle got into prison for being the Prowler. He might actually also be free, as we saw him in that Craven overview of New York 2. So crazy theory, but what if the symbiote also gets a hold of Miles when he's fueled by his anger towards Martin Lee? That would be kinda crazy. Or maybe his uncle, if he is indeed set free, will pay Mr. Negative a visit. The story trailer was not even 2 minutes long, but it already sets up some very interesting things. And usually these kinds of trailers for Sony games only show up to 5 to like 8 hours max of the game, so there's probably a ton we haven't seen yet. They also showed the first ever game-inspired PS5 bundle with the symbiote taking over, but still some red. I think it looks awesome. There's also a special DualSense controller as well. And what is cool is that you can even order the faceplates for the PS5 separately, which I might do to still get the awesome looking PS5 without having to buy a whole new console. Pre-orders open July 28th at the PlayStation Direct store or other retailers if there's no PlayStation Direct in your country, and the official launch for this hardware is actually September 1st, so before the game launches on October 20th. We'll also leave a link with more info on the hardware in the video description, so don't forget to subscribe. I will have way more Spider-Man news coming your way. A like on the video would really help me out, and check out my previous video on the deluxe edition, cool new outfits they announced, by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.